Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is Monday, May 15th, 2023. Uh, I titled this one, It's More Than Just Ja Morant. And for what it's worth, I put my 2 cents in. But I think that there are several components to this Ja Morant situation that we have to look at. And ultimately, I'm gonna put this out there, and I probably will reiterate more throughout this message. But ultimately, it comes down to him, right? Ultimately, nobody is to blame but him. But when I say that there's more than just Ja Morant, it's more than just Ja Morant. Because okay, we have to go back to the discovery of these young boys and girls. Okay, more so these young men. When they found the elite potential NBA talent, NFL talent, next level pro talent, okay, they roll out the red carpet for these young men, right? And in the rolling out of this carpet, there's a lot that gets swept under the rug. There's a lot of grades that get pushed. There's a lot of strings that get pulled for these elite type uh, athletes. If they get in trouble, all now they haven't made the league yet. If they get in trouble, there are ways to make things go away. I'll put it like that, right? There are ways to make things go away. So what it is somebody always bailing them out, or somebody always um, making it okay, making it okay for the things they do. Now, what does that have to do with what I'm speaking on? Because this is the result of a person that has gotten away with everything, right? And a lot of times when I come and I'm speaking, because I hear people, I've been listening to people like, it's 10:32 where I am yet, so Skip and Shannon haven't done their spiel on it. But I listen to people like Jay Will. I listen to people like Keyshawn. I listen to people, whoever, Stephen A. Smith. And now get what I'm saying. Listen to understand and not get triggered and respond to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm the only person that has done anything or they're not doing anything. But a lot of times when you have a son that gets into a whole lot of stuff, right? No matter how many, and they're dealing with Ja Morant like he's a child because this is more so a maturity issue. I've said this when he first got into it, and everybody keeps saying he ain't like that. Oh, he ain't from the streets. He ain't this. Guess what he's gonna try to do more and more? Prove he's like that. Prove he's from the street. But what more so, this what it was instead of him like aiming the gun and this is immature behavior, right? Because when people enable you and bail you out, that stunts you growing up. Even for LeBron James, there's a lot of things that he has been covered up from, right? There's a lot of things that they made go away for him. So enablers hurt people. I'll put it like that to get to what I'm saying. When you have enablers around you, they hurt you, right? So enablers hurt people. So we've had a lot of people that have enabled this young man. When you are the breadwinner, everybody's still coming for his father and saying this. And listen, my son is 26 years old. So my son was one of those ones that would get in all type of stuff. And everybody looks at you, but guess what? It's not you. Because you are telling your son, hey, look, this ain't the way. Especially when they are of age, right? Okay, so imagine being of age and making hundreds of millions of dollars. You are the sole provider of your parent because we still dealing with this young man like he's a child, even though he's behaving childish. We're still saying when I'm listening to Keyshawn, they're like, "Yo, man, I could take him around some places and show him this life." We are beyond that. We are beyond that. We are beyond taking him to try to scare him straight. He's a father. He is a father himself. So this isn't something that, because number one, there aren't a lot of people that really are. And I'm not saying that there aren't players in the league, but most of these talking heads, they're not trying to help. Stephen A. Smith's job is to bash. Shannon Sharp job is to bash. Skip, what else he gonna do, Skip? This young man is obviously going through something that people have to dig deeper and say, yo, bro, what the? And he probably has had this. You see what I'm saying? But the thing that I'm getting to is this something that he has to pull himself out of. This is the enabling of young black boys that grow up to be older black men that still can't get it together. It's more than just him. It's more than just this. What can a father say to a son who's paying for everybody's lifestyle? The pressure that's put on these young boys to be the one that saved the family from poverty. I'm not excusing his behavior, but we got to look deeper instead of saying, if I was in, because most of us giving advice would never be in $100 million position to say what we would do in those positions. So we're speaking from a poverty level of saying, man, if I had that money, because what this saying is, money should civilize you. Stop acting like a nigga. Right? But there are conflicting. When you're talking to the youth or young, what you say got to add up. What you say got to add up. Meaning that, okay, let's look at somebody that's twice his age. Let's look at Charleston White. Everybody says, and everybody know, listen to my videos, I don't spare Charleston White. We are saying that, y'all are saying, I'm not going to claim this, but people are saying that he's saying what needs to be done. Now look at his behavior, right? And he's well into, he says he's early 40s. I don't believe that. Charleston White looks every bit of 50 and over. So we don't even know his real age. We don't even know if he's telling the truth about his age. I'm 41. We don't look nothing alike. He lived a hard life. But what I'm saying is the maturation level of the black male. Listen to how look at how, really pay attention to these Charleston White videos. Stop, because what we fall in love with the person that points out the flaw or person that points out the illness, right? So the person that points out the illness becomes the saving grace of, yeah, see, this is what's wrong. But we never point out what makes this society sick. So look at somebody that's twice his age. Look at Charleston White's maturity level. It's a maturation process that this young man has to go through. He very well may. There are grown men and women mad at him for the way he's ruining his life. His life. If y'all are so goddamn concerned about him, reach out, try to find out how to help him. If everybody's so goddamn concerned, try to figure out how to be a solution. Kwame Brown, shut up. Your conscious level is so low, you still call yourself a bust. You can't even think of nothing higher to call yourself than a bust. So you're a former player. You saying he's NBA dumb boy. Now, if that's what you want to say, fair game. But when you the one a year or two ago bitching that, oh, y'all say my name. Why is everybody talking about old Busty Bus? Again, you just want to call names with this young man. This young man is 23 years old. Now, if anybody that comes across my video, think about the boyfriend that you with, if he's older than 23. And be honest. Think about the dudes you with. Think about you at 23. Now, I'm not saying you would have been wilding with guns, but there would have been something else. There would have been something else that you would have gotten into. You see what I'm saying? So this is how we look at, and this is all I'm saying. Like, again, am I excusing Ja Morant's behavior? No, but I'm not gonna browbeat this young man because I understand the illness. I understand, so I don't need to beat up on somebody that I don't know what's going on. Right? But we must understand. Like I said, everybody's speaking from a poverty point of what would you do if you was in his position? Would you get up early in the morning and work hard like he did? Would you be willing to put in practice of hours and hours and hours? So guess who ultimately is going to, shout out to Lenny Cook. And I saw Lenny Cook. I follow him on social media. I saw Lenny Cook attempting to reach out. And as we know, Lenny Cook was the #1 player ahead of LeBron James in his class. And that young man received some of the most terrible advice and ruined his career. Because again, everybody has sharks around these young boys. So they don't get to go through not all get to go through a proper maturation process. Because they're forced to grow up to be the breadwinner for the family. A lot of them are the first ones in their family to go to college. So how would we handle the pressure of being $100 millionaire? You get what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Hit some of them comments if I'm making sense. Again, like I said, I'm not giving out excuses, but I'm a person that's in the community and I see all type of young men personality. I see old 40-year-old men behaving worse than Ja Morant. It's a maturation process. So just because, like the church say, okay, let's hit the church since people like church. Just because you seeing different, you can call me out. Keyshawn Johnson got him a lot of stuff. Jay Will ruined his career on a motorcycle. I'm not comparing as to point their flaws out, but everybody has something that they was like, damn, I really effed that up. And this is what this young man going through. But the more people keep saying, you ain't like that, you a wannabe. You ain't speaking this little homie language. Everybody's calling him and telling him how stupid he is. It is. But that's not the way. You don't have to kick over the hornet's nest to get the honey. You see what I'm saying? So this is going to be a throw him out the league. Now let's get to this, because I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. The league would rather see if Ja Morant comes out and says he's LGBT, he's homosexual, he wants to be the Spurs superstar to be homosexual. They would rave. They would treat him like Dwayne Wade. Now look at, I'm just showing different things. Am I giving passes? No, because I want to make sure, because people hear what they want to hear in these type of messages. But if he was a gay black man, he would be plastered as a hero. Now, how does being homosexual affect the family and affect your family and your generations? It kills them. The fact that Dwayne Wade is being touted as Father of the Year for what he's doing to his son is sickening. But they would rather, and I get it, because the gun is in a menacing way. So they say, hey, you got security. Now, this is the slippery slope, because this person is always trying to find, if you are unsure in yourself, because the cure is the consciousness. The cure to all this is your level of consciousness, your level of gnosis, right? Not how much money you got. The money could help. But there are so many lost millionaires. There are so many lost brothers in the hood with us with tons of money that don't even know what to do with it because they don't have the conscious level. They don't have the gnosis, right? So this conscious level is what cures all of this. Now, if we still talking this at 33, that's just who he is. You see what I'm saying? That's just who he is. But right now, this is a 23-year-old young man that is throwing his life away. I see it all the time. And I think people are mad because he's the first one that we see. And again, back to without having that conscious level, without that conscious knowledge, everybody's subject to malfunction in different ways. Drugs, women, excuse me. It could be drugs, women, both, gambling, because they're out there. Because they're out there. What's the point of a players association or a players union? If I'm looking at something, what's the purpose of these players union if they won't wrap their arms around? And this is what I'm saying. It's a players league, right? I watch all of these old school players. This is what bothered me because I have a degree in journalism. Years ago, I used to always want to be like Charles Barkley, Kenny, Ernie, all of those. I wanted to be a sports analyst. But now, what turned me off from that, outside of them just not caring about what's outside the world of sports, but what kills me is how they sit and they're retired Hall of Famers. And they would rather destroy these players. Shaq would rather destroy and become rivals with Dwight Howard than to help that young man improve his game. He would rather make fun of JaVale McGee than to help him. So we wondering why the youth don't have respect for the OGs, because that's what most of the OGs are sitting doing what Shannon Sharpe is going to do today. Most of the OGs doing what Stephen A. Smith doing today, because that's their job. Their job is to say, get them out of there. Jalen, I understand, you're trying to do. Jalen Rose did try to understand. And like I told a friend of mine, I said, the problem is it's being recorded, much like the assault of police brutality. It's being filmed at an alarming rate. So let's just say players like Allen Iverson, what would his Instagram live look like when he was young? And I'm not saying he would do what Ja is doing, but what I'm saying is there are different entities. This is a different generation. And what we don't do, we become the old cats in the room that don't understand the generation after us. We condemn them. We call them stupid. We sound like the old uncles or the old dads or the old aunties that I don't know what's wrong with these children. Number one, if you are conscious and you still running around talking about what's wrong with black folks, you're not conscious. You're not woke. You're diet woke. What this is about also, and like I said, I'm wrapping it up, but what this is also about is he's not being the prototypical image. Because what it is it's images like LeBron James, who is the model citizen, who is all about his brand. And I'm not knocking him, but listen to what I'm saying. They want you to fit this cookie cutter image, which is why they changed the dress code for Allen Iverson, right? Remember, they changed the dress code up for Allen Iverson, right? So in changing this dress code, they change how you are. They change your mannerisms. To change your mannerisms, because now, okay, they'll say, okay, remember they put out you couldn't wear baggy pants, you couldn't wear baggy t-shirts, you couldn't wear gold chains, you couldn't dress like rap stars, right? Because that's really ultimately when we look at it, this is the merging of the sports world and the music entertainment world, right? Because who was he listening to? There was some, I want to say Steven Adams, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But there was a veteran on the Memphis Grizzlies team. And this is where we must understand the power of music, the model, as I think he's a psychiatrist. His name is Albert Bandura, Bandura. Albert Bandura. And Albert Bandura was good with the social. He was good with understanding the social learning theory. Look up him. His name is Albert Bandura, Bandura. And there was an interview where he was talking about the shaping of society through soap operas, right? The shaping of society through soap operas. And as he was saying that they need this model, he says they have several types of models. But he says, first, you need the model. And the people that were talking to him, they were asking, they said, well, what is the type of model? And they said, first, the model is somebody that has power, right? And I'm going somewhere with this. Somebody that has power. Somebody that looks like they got it together. Okay. So in this model, so we must think about, like I said, this is a mixture of the rap world and the sports world. So when we're talking about Michael Jordan's era, when we're talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, which is ultimately the same era, but when we're talking about that era, there was no merging of the two. Now, they might have been hanging out with them, but I don't know if I would say it's Allen Iverson. And if anybody's in the comments have a different perspective, I'm open to hearing it. But I want to say Allen Iverson was kind of like that first prototypical basketball, like rap star image. I could be wrong. It didn't sway that way until then. You know, most of them, look at Patrick Ewing. Look at Alonzo Mourning. Look at a lot of the 80s, 90s. Look at Larry Johnson. Look at how those black men carried themselves. So what we also is doing through the models that they've given us for masculinity, back to Bandura's theory, the model that they've given us, there has been like this decline of black masculinity in a sense. When you look at those guys, like I named Vernon Maxwell, who played with the Houston Rockets, he was talking about an incident that he had. He actually had a fight with Hakeem Olajuwon. And you should check that interview out. But I bring that up to say the level of, I don't like to say professionalism, mature black men that was back then. You know, just like what we come from, our granddads, great-great-granddads were mature men. They wasn't wearing pants hanging off their head because they had to give us a model of what a thug was, right? When we say gangster, it's like what they did with the nigger. They took the ER. The gangsters were the Al Pacino type images. The Lucky Lucianos, the Gottis, and all those type of names, right? That was more so the gangster that you would see the fat Italian with the Tommy gun and he's spraying it up. Now, look at how they do criminality. Like I said, it's deeper than just him. So criminality looks organized crime. They got on the suits, they mafioso, but they pulling up and they spraying and they doing what they have to do, right? Well, the gangster became the STA. And this became like, and these are all my opinions. Again, I'm open to different ones. When they really put out like this hardcore gangster rap, NWA type stuff, that's when you became a nigga with an attitude, right? So this is this model. And what has happened with this generation, John Morant's generation, is just like wet gremlins. They only multiplied. They only multiplied to what we have now, right? So by them multiplying to what we have now, the model of what a gangster is where it is now. Because if you ask what's a gangster, if you ask 5 dudes, you probably get 4, maybe 5 different answers. So when we saying, because like, okay, so the back to the veteran on the team, the veteran said during shoot around, everything, they wake up, they listen to NBA Youngboy all day because this is the model that's in you. Like, okay, what type of music are you listening to when you're in the gym? You personally, whoever's gonna listen at this video, what type of music do you listen to? And that music does something to you. That's why I like Lupe Fiasco. He's teaching courses. He's teaching hip hop courses at MIT, right? So he had his class, and I want you to think about this. Listen to this. He had this class, and he was asking them to create acronyms for the word rap. And there was one person that said rhythmically access people's souls. And I'm like, So I took it and said rhythmically accessing people's souls. Because we are vibrational, especially African Black people. Don't come on here with a dissertation talking about we're not Black. Let's listen to what I'm saying. We thrive off of vibration. We're a rhythmic people. So when we listen to music, it permeates our soul. It hits that conscious level. See, this is why they banned a lot of music. This is why Public Enemy was just that. It wasn't that type of stuff played out. It was drowned out. So we're blaming this young man, and he deserves blame for like, bro, what are you doing? But ultimately, he's in the Skinner box. He's just a rich rat in the box. Because I see the gold chains, but I just don't mistake it for jewelry because they're still chains, right? So you got all these chains around your neck, diamonds, gold, encrusted, whatever. You got all of that. And that's us. You can find ancient Kemites in their coffins with gold teeth. So this is still us. This is them tapping into us. That's not what gangster is, a gold chain. A gold chain isn't gangster. This is how they politicized that image and made you fear it. Right? So even though this is a $200 million young brother, he's still in this matrix, y'all. Just like me and you. It's just we try to figure out a little bit more harder how we're gonna maintain day to day with our bills. Same thing with them. They're just on a higher level of income and earning. Kyrie Irving is still a rat in the box. He's still a slave. Go back to the young man. Research this. And if I'm flawed, tell me. Research this to where Andrew Wiggins, who played for the Golden State Warriors. Now, dig what I'm saying. Rats in a box. $1 million slaves. Because of the conscious level. Go back and research Andrew Wiggins and his vaccine. Really research Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors and how he felt about taking that vaccine. See, that's the ultimate problem. But we make money our everything. And that's not me being a broke cat talking or and saying money isn't everything. Money helps. But what I'm saying is people, they're always talking about, they're only talking about the physical of what this young man is doing. Not is his mental okay? How is this young man's spirit? If they care so goddamn much. But everybody wants, just like last time, everybody wants to take a shot instead of understanding. But when we had a black man like Kyrie Irving who did not want to take the shot, how was he treated? Villainized. You know, I'm not a Jim Jones fan, but he has this song called Emotionless. And I think it's on the POME album. And he has this one line that he says, and they tell me that life is but a gamble. The media turn your whole life into a scandal. And that lyric always stuck with me. Those lyrics always stuck with me. Because 1 minute the media loves you. You are the darling. You are almost the face of Masters League. But the moment you get out of and start acting like the nigga that they brought you from, because money is supposed to change you, right? You're supposed to act civilized. White people don't act like this. White people have class, the most savage people on earth, right? But it's not videotaped. I agree this young man needs to deal with stuff within, but calling him names and everybody, now the joke memes, you know, that's just us. We're gonna clown you. Like, what are you doing? Sometimes now I do enjoy seeing the guys that are imitating him with the, you know, because that's the humor in your craziness. But the whole thing of what I'm saying, and I hope I was able to make sense and hit them comments and let me know if I'm making sense, was that you got 20. If you don't have children and you're going to have them, one day your son or daughter is going to be 23. And the reason I won't blame and beat down his father, because I've been that father. Just my son didn't make $200 million. You done everything you can. It's something that they got to get themselves through. So Keyshawn Johnson, Charleston White, I didn't even listen to that Charleston White. Because what amazes me about people's conscious level, again, I'm going to keep harping on that, is that nobody can see that because we think in sections. We think in our emotions. We think situational. All of the above, right? And what I mean that we think situational. Let me show you how your thoughts are trained. Let me show you how your thoughts are trained. The moment Kanye West said what he said about George Floyd, how did people react? The family tried to sue him, right? But how did everybody else react? Oh, he wrong. Oh, we disassociating ourselves. We what's the word? Counsel Kanye, right? For what he's saying. The documentary said that the documentary said he died. He didn't die. He died from. He didn't die from the knee on the neck. People were so outraged, right? Go back and remember now. And how did you feel? Be honest now. You know how you honestly felt. You can say whatever you felt. But how did you feel about his comments toward George Floyd? Right? And let me show you how your mind is controlled. Because we're trained to understand the symptom and not the cause. And so what I mean by the symptom and not the cause is we're trying to understand that we kill each other. Black folks kill each other. King Von, this and this. Now I'm gonna get to Charleston White, but what I'm talking about is the program. So we're only able to see ourselves because we're in proximity. But when Charleston White says George Floyd should have died, he was high. He was trying to pass off a fake 20. When I read the comments, so many people, Charleston White can't miss with y'all. Y'all are gonna promote this guy and then wonder why, and then something. Because look, now again, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. You cannot build something on disrespect and get mad when people come to check you about that. But the conscious level is every bit of his oppressor. Now, if Kanye wears the Confederate flag, there's a whole different outlook. But if Charleston White has on a Confederate skull cap, scarf, jacket, and he'll tell you, I love white people. He'll wear a FBI shirt. But because, much like with the John Morant situation, we want to see a nigga strung up. We want to see a nigga put in his place. We can't wait till Adam Silver come down and check this out-of-pocket nigga. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. He ain't working, boss. We want to see him get put in his place because he's an out-of-pocket nigga. Because we're always comfortable watching either people talk about what's going on with us or watching outsiders sanction and deal with us. Never ourselves. So Charleston White, just like an opportunist, Charleston White can talk about raping women. Charleston White can talk about, look at how he talked about FBG Duck's mom. Now, this is a 50-something-year-old man. I'm convinced. I don't know how old he is. But to be like, suck my hoe, bitch, now this is a grown man that's around children. This maturity level. But we say, hey, well, it needed to be said because we love the rhetoric. Right? We love the rhetoric. So that's my spiel. I just want y'all to really understand that, you know what I'm saying? Even though this person is a man, and I know a lot of people in the quote unquote conscious community, we get to a point where we are so African or holier than thou that we hate all celebrities. But guess what? They're just like you. I'm not going to stay up all night and hate every single one of them because there's levels to this shit. And the more you get out of your feelings and your human feelings and I don't like this because it looks this way, that's when you really begin to grow and get real gnosis. Get the real knowing, the real knowledge. But sitting up here just pointing out, well, what I would do, nigga, you ain't even in that position to do it. Check on the little homies in the hood so they don't grow up and emulate the model John Morant. But that's my spiel. I'm out. I hope y'all able to get something out of this. Hit those likes. Share it even. And we just gonna do better. And you gotta know better to do better. And if you don't know, guess what you do? Assume. Peace.